has been the center of intense debate in recent times. To mine or not to mine bauxite in Ghana's Ituas forest. Now, during his presentation of the 2018 mid-year budget review, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta revealed Sino Hydro Group Limited is expected to provide $2 billion of infrastructure, including roads, bridges, interchanges, hospitals, house and rural electrification in exchange for Ghana's refined bauxite. Now, this announcement received fierce opposition from academia, CSOs, NGOs, and some Ghanaians. Articles have been written, demonstrations staged in a bid to get government to rescind its decision. What was the response? Well, government maintained its position, and Lands Minister at the time, John Peter Amewu, said the mining will be done responsibly, but is that what those opposing the idea really want? I've been joined by Daryl Bosu. He is Deputy Director of Arocha, Ghana. Great to have you here once again.
Happy to be here as well.
Well, we've been talking about this for almost 2 years, since 2017, when you discovered an endangered species, the white-naped mangabe monkey. And 2 years on, and you're still on this fight. What gives you the hope that government is ever going to rescind its decision on mining bauxite in Itua?
Well, we have a lot of hope because this campaign actually started in 2012. And right from 2012 to 2016, we are actually at the point where the government agreed that let's really have a national park. Just that we had a change in government, we decided, okay, we have all these plans in place, but let's see other options. And that's where the bauxite thing. And going on 2 years, I would say we are still very hopeful, because the voices of raising is really mounting, and if a government like the Nana Akufo-Addo-led government is not listening, then that's also problematic. And if you really look at the risks that the world is faced now, if you look at the current, there was a World Economic Forum just 5 days ago, and one of the key issues coming out there is the environmental risks, and one of them is water crisis that the world is going to face if we don't take action. So this even highlights the value that Atiwa presents to Ghanaians. And if you also look at our water issues, the quality and quantity, we've also heard about the stresses that most of these institutions, the research institutions, are indicating. And so we are hopeful that government will eventually listen. A lot has gone on, and if you look at the responses, government is looking to actually make a change, and we think that we need to help government to really make that decision, and that's why we are still very hopeful.
But you know, there are many Ghanaians who don't agree with you. They say, why would you deny us good roads? We know claiming a lot of lives. Hospitals, big issue here in the country. And interchanges, bridges. Why do you want to deny us that for conserving some monkeys that a lot of Ghanaians don't really care about?
Well, I think it's not about we deny anybody infrastructure development. We are actually for infrastructure development, and we actually agree that government of Ghana has every right to go and exploit its bauxite resources. But it is the manner in which it is done that we have a position against that. We think that for Ghana to exploit its resources, it needs to do that, taking cognizance of the other trade-offs. And it's not just about monkey when you're talking about Atiwa, it's also water. Actually, water is the main reason. If it's about the monkeys, you can actually move them elsewhere. That is not a big deal. But a forest that provides water for 5 million, this place should be receiving maximum national security, not be given out to some businessmen to mine it. So that is our case. All the people in the Kausua area, Weja, if you know your water comes from Weja, then you will really be talking about saving a monkey. So it's actually just more than monkeys. It's the water, and it's also the people's well-being within that area. And again, we've always said that mining bauxite is good for the country, but it must be done the right way. It doesn't mean that every place that has bauxite must be dug up. The right places must be exploited, and the government needs to do an environmental impact assessment to know what will be the eventual gains or losses, so that we do the right thing.
We've been told by those who support this that government can actually take portions of the Itiwa forest that may not directly affect the water sources. You are with an organization that has been in this forest for a very long time. You've camped there. You're trying to, study the species available, discover more species of different animals. Is it possible for government to say, okay, let's look at how these river bodies are sourced, and see if we can mine a portion of the Itiwa without affecting the source of water directly. Is that possible?
It's not possible.
Why?
I mean, this forest, I mean, I'm also going to take us back to what the former Minister of Lands, Peter Mewu, said, that they will mine the forest sustainably. If you look at what goes into bauxite mining, you actually have to strip off the whole vegetation. And there's no way you can do that and also have your water. Yeah, you can't have both.
But they're not doing that with the entire forest, are
yes,
they?
And actually, so if you take a look at the geological layout of this particular forest, all the water bodies is actually going to come from all the areas that they are actually looking at. So there are sections of the forest. The water bodies, the biodiversity is all in these areas that they are also looking at, interestingly. So it's not about, you can't have both. You can't eat your cake and have it. Once you touch the forest, you might as well forget the water and the biodiversity that goes with it. So there's no possibility and there's no technology in this world now, whether from Australia, whether from Canada, whether from South Africa or South America, that can let you do sustainable and responsible mining of bauxite. Bauxite is an extractive industry. Once you get into it, you are making a decision to destroy an area. Even getting it back after exploitation is also very difficult. And now you are looking at over 60 years. By then, and this government is not going to be in power forever, you know. Even if they are in for 8 years or 9 years, there will be changes. And we cannot sustain the maintenance or whatever we are planning to do. That's why we are actually hinting on precaution. All that we've been saying is that the government should exercise some precaution, do the necessary assessment, ensure a strategic environmental assessment, and make sure that we need to consider the trade-offs. Water is at the heart of this issue, and we cannot ignore that.
If I get you right,
yes.
you're saying that even looking at the political landscape, it's not even a good risk, because if governments change, we are likely to abandon this project altogether.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
So where do we go from here? I mean, since 2012, and from the statements we hear, from the budgets that are read, it looks like government is resolute in embarking on this deal with Sinohydro.
Well, on the Sinohydro deal, it's not a complete sellout. If you look at the agreement, which we have taken our time to also review, it talks about bauxite receipts. It doesn't say where the bauxite is coming from.
Okay.
That is one thing in that particular agreement. And we already know that there's already ongoing bauxite exploitation in Awaso. It's been going on for 78 years. The question is, how are we as a country reaping the maximum benefit from that particular mine? And then secondly, there are other areas in this country which also has got bauxite. What we need to do as a country is to check and ask ourselves, which one will give us the most acceptable collateral damage, and assess that through an environmental assessment, a strategic environmental assessment, and that will let us know what trade-offs we are going to give up, what opportunity costs. So we think that is very, very crucial. And if we do that, we can be able to really appreciate what really needs to go in before we actually. And the agreement also says that it has a clause that in the event that the government of Ghana is not able to fulfill its obligations in terms of bauxite receipt, both countries will explore other options. So it tells you also that the government foresees certain challenges, and this is something all of us, all Ghanaians, cannot ignore. Because the trade-off, I'm telling you, I don't think that the Chinese, if they had a forest like this that provides water for 5 million, they will be so quick, they'll even consider. They'll give it maximum protection. So I'm actually surprised that because we think we need development, okay? But doesn't mean go sell yourself.
Okay. You've mentioned other sources of bauxite mining in the country.
And where already is happening.
And where it's already happening.
Yes.
But how do we make money from Itiwa without mining? Is it possible? Because I'm sure some will be wondering, okay, so this vast land, okay, yeah, water, you're preserving our water, it's okay, but we still need money. We still money, because if you give me water and I don't have a good hospital, what's the essence? I mean, yeah, good water will keep me safe, but if mosquitoes,
healthy, you don't need a hospital,
no, but you can get sick from many other sources. So, for example, if mosquitoes from the forest come and bite me and I get malaria, and I don't have a good hospital, or I don't have beds in the hospital, how do I survive? How else can we make money from Itiwa? Has AROCHA Ghana considered that? Do you have any proposals?
No, that's excellent, and I have to say we have actually been working on this. I mean, going side by side with our campaign to get government to rescind the decision. We have been exploring several options, and actually there's several on the table. First of all, we have been asking that to really change the discussion and move towards sustainable development that will bring livelihood, prosperity, and well-being to the people of the landscape. Let's look at value-added addition to certain commodities in the landscape. This landscape, because of the microclimate, supports cocoa production significantly. And we are saying that let's consider a processing value addition factory or a system in this particular landscape. Again, we can also look at a national park. I'm telling you, if we actually pay attention and make the necessary investment, this landscape, the whole Eastern region as a tourism destination, is going to bring in more revenue than any place in this country. You know, Kakum receives about over 100,000 visitors every year. Atiwa will bring more than that, more than twice that number, because it's just about 1.5 hours. And with tourism, there are several other linked facilities and services that goes along. So this is eating your cake and have it. Of course, the revenue is going to trickle in slowly, but we are looking at sustainability, we are looking at prosperity and well-being. If you look at the whole global sustainable development agenda, if you look at all 17 goals, it's looking at sustainability and development that is long-term, that fosters prosperity and well-being and good health and food. So it's not about winning the roads. They already have hospitals. Now, what if you put in bauxite right now, you're actually going to increase the number of people who are going to be exposed to several environmental hazards. And you are actually going to need more hospitals, more beds. And do we want that? Right now, people are thriving. Of course, the only challenge in the landscape has with livelihood issues. Okay, and even if you're looking at bauxite, all the people who are working in this area, they are all agrarian farmers, they are agrarian communities. They will not have the skills, the capacity to be employed in any of these bauxite industry that is going to be set up. If you look at what is going on in Awaso, I mean, they were also promised thousands of jobs. Currently, not more than 400 people are working on those mines. Okay, so the reality check is really worse than it is presented by a politician, and we think that they need to really critically assess the situation. Everybody is talking about it. There has been several calls from several institutions, focus and also research-based calls on the government to really consider that decision.
When you say national park, are you looking at something similar to what we have at Mole?
Yes, so Mole is also a national park, Ezali, and is found in the savannah areas. So this is also going to be a national park that will be in the high forest zone. And because of the significant diversity of biodiversity and also the relief, we are looking at several tourism products and attractions. And I said already we have done some analysis and feasibility on what can be done with this. And it's amazing what is coming out. So this is why we are saying that the options and the opportunities and the benefits for sustainability in the long term far outweighs what we are going to get now if we mine it for bauxite.
We know Sino Hydro is ready to mine bauxite if government gives them the go-ahead. Do we know of any investors, anybody interested at all in helping us turn Etiwa into a national park?
I have to say yes. There have been several investors. They have shown interest. They've been to the Ochenhene and have discussions with them. All they need is that there's a clearance from government saying that, look, we're not going to touch this place. People need that assurance. They need government to wash their hands off this forest. Okay. And I need to say, Sino Hydro virtually have an agreement to build infrastructure. There's no agreement for them to actually do the bauxite. So possibly we are looking at they bringing different organizations. It could be Chinese, it could be whatever. But I also recall the Minister of Information of Nkrumah saying that no Chinese will be mining that to our forest. So we are looking out actually forward to what is actually going to happen.
Can you give us any names of such interested investors?
I'm not going to disclose that, but this is something that is also still in discussion, and it depends on a lot of.
Let's talk about your interaction with government over the years.
Yes.
Are you in touch with the current boss of the Forestry Commission, and what's his take, if you are at all? What's his take on this?
Yes, so we are very much in touch with them. On March 22nd, 2017, we marched to his office, all the way from the forest communities to the forest, to his office. And that is where he actually agreed. He has also visited the forest. He saw what is there and even said the government needs to reconsider. And in his office, he reiterated that same statement that this is a forest we know provides water for 5 million people. So government is definitely going to have a look at it. And there was even a communication from the Forestry Commission that is impressing upon government not to touch Atiwa Forest for bauxite mining.
Have you had any feedback since then, 2017? We are in 2019. Have you had any feedback from government on this particular decision?
We have had several engagements, but not directly. A lot of it has been indirect. We've had engagement through Parliament when they had to discuss the Integrated Bauxite Management Authority bill that was in Parliament. We engaged with Parliament, we engaged with some authorities of the ministry. We are now also engaging with the Ministry of Lands on how best we can actually look at the issues that are coming out here and make sure that the right things are done. So, yes, directly, I wouldn't say it's been good. We just had one meeting with the Minister of Environment, Professor Frimpong Boateng, who was also trying to tell us that government is listening to what we are saying. They are considering several options, and so appropriately they will communicate with that. But I would say a lot more of the engagement has been very indirect.
Finally, Joy News is partnering you in an exhibition at the British Council today, and it's going to run for about 3 days.
Yes, ma'am.
Why should we be there? I mean, why should we come there?
Yeah, I think you need to, and I think most viewers need to come there because most people in Accra don't know where their water comes from and what is in that forest and why we are so keen about saving that forest. Come see the sites and listen to the sounds and hear all the issues, what people are saying, why we need to save this forest. And I think that we all have an opportunity now. Those of us who have stayed in Accra, don't know where our water comes from, what is happening to our sources of water. This is an opportunity, and we're inviting everyone to come and see.
And it starts at 2 p.m. today?
Yes, exactly. We are opening 2 p.m. today, and then I think from tomorrow right up to Saturday, it stays open, and admission is free for everyone.
Thank you very much. Yes, Darrell Bosu is Deputy Director of Arocha Ghana, an environment-focused organization, and they're inviting you for that exhibition on the Etiwa Forest, the British Council, 2 p.m. today. Do make a date.